call. You heard it. That's the eagle call.
I'm your Nostalgia and welcome back to Eagle Time, the podcast where our Gigas Prep Academy students share their voices, stories, and insights with the world. We're coming to you straight from beautiful, sunny San Bernardino, California, and today we've got a show you won't want to miss with a very special guest.
I'm Emily. In today's episode, we're honored to be speaking with our superintendent, Mr. Arellano of San Bernardino City Unified School District. We'll be diving into the district's effort to provide a top-notch education, build strong connections with families, and ensure that all students are equipped for success, whether they choose college or career.
I'm Chris, and for those who don't know, the SHINES project stands for SBCUSD Strong. H stands for High Expectations for Academics and Innovation to be college and or career ready. I stands for Involvement of Students' Family, Community, and Staff. N stands for Nutrition, Health, and Wellness. E stands for Equity as a Foundation. And last but not least, S stands for Safe, Secure, and Attractive Learning Environments.
I'm Alexis, and a little bit about Mr. Arellano is that he was selected as the superintendent by the SBCUSD Board of Education in 2023. After years of spending his time teaching in the district, and before that, he was a student in the district before. And as you can see, he's very loyal to our district. So now let's get into one of our most special and anticipated podcast episodes yet.
So thank you so much for coming on our podcast. We're so lucky to have you. How are you doing today?
First of all, thank you very much for having me. And to answer your question, I'm having a great day. Every day is a great day in the school district, but thank you for having me.
Well, can you please give us a brief summary of what SHINES 2030 is in case we missed anything?
Yeah, no, it was a great summary of what the vision is. So what SHINES 2030 is a multi-year vision for the district. It's a statement to the community of all the objectives that the Board of Education, the superintendent, our principals, our wonderful teachers, we're all working towards to come to fruition with the goal of meeting a lot of these objectives by 2030. But you guys did a great job summarizing what it is.
What inspired you to create this vision, and what does every student shines really mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my overarching goal, and I've said this many times, is I want people outside of San Bernardino and inside of San Bernardino to view our district as a serious institution of academics. And so the way to get to that ultimate goal is you have to create common language, common expectations, and you have to write it in such a way that is easy to read, easy to understand, and more importantly, easy to repeat. So to answer your question, what this represents is a common vision, not only for all of us inside the district, but also for the community to know what we're working towards. And so then they can decide, how can we support that vision? So not necessarily just parents. We're talking about businesses, the local universities, the junior colleges, the faith-based organization, the churches. Everybody has an opportunity to be a part of trying to get to the goal of being a very serious institution of academics.
Well, Mr. Arellano, we know that you've shaped this vision with many community leaders, students, and staff, but what were some of the most valuable contributions to the development phase?
Well, I appreciate that you guys did your homework. That's very good that you know all the elements that were part of that. To me, the most important part was for people to understand that this is not Mr. Arellano's vision, that this is not the Board of Education's vision, but this is the vision of the community. So when we invited all the different aspects of the community, whether they were business owners, students, staff, parents, graduates from decades ago, I wanted to make sure that I was getting everybody's perspective in the community to answer three questions, really. I gave them three questions. What's working that we should keep? What do we need a little polishing? What do we need to improve and keep? And then what's missing? It was three very simple questions that we asked. So for me, the important part of that was listening and giving the community what they want in our school district.
If you don't mind me asking, how did you let a lot of people answer those questions? How did you give them those questions?
Yes, that's an excellent question. So there was really three mechanisms that I used. One was in-person forums. So we sent out advertisements of several dates where people could come directly to me face to face and have the opportunity to share that with me orally or even leave cards, right? That was one mechanism. The second mechanism was using a software program called Thought Exchange, where people could download an app on their phone or on a computer, and they could list as many ideas as they had to answer those 3 questions. They could give me 3 answers, or they could give me 300. And using artificial intelligence, we collected over like 10,000 ideas from the community and from high school students. And then AI just spit out like the top 10 themes from all of that. So, and then the third part is I actually scheduled intentional meetings with some key partners like elected officials, the mayor, the congressman, county supervisors, priests, pastors, reverends from the different faith-based organization, business owners, and then just key people in the community so that I could have one-on-one. So that's how I gathered a lot of the anecdotal data that led to the multi-year
That's
vision.
extremely impressive.
Yeah, so there's a strong focus on high academic expectations and preparing students for a college or career. How is the district making sure that these students meet up to these standards?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. So let me first tell you why we're doing that, and then I'll answer your question of how we're going to measure it. I grew up in San Bernardino, went to school here in the school district, graduated from San Bernardino High School. So, this town is my town just as much as it is your town. And I know the challenges that all of us have had to work through to be successful. And so one of the things that was important to me is I wanted people to know that any student from the San Bernardino City Unified School District, when they leave here, can compete with any student across the state of California or across the United States. That our kids are just as intelligent, if not more intelligent, just as gifted, if not more gifted, than any student, and to prepare you. So that's important for me to set high standards in the community and also high standards within the school district. The district went through a lot of challenges over the years. So usually when there's challenges, the expectation starts to lower because the climate is like, people aren't really sure. They're not confident. So my job is to set it back up here because I truly believe that students will rise to the level of expectation, and you will. Now, how do we measure that? So every year we measure there's different things that we measure, whether they're proficiency on your exams at the high school, whether it's an AP passing rate, the number of students earning the seal of biliteracy, the number of kids finishing AP classes. There's a variety of measures. And every month, if you notice, we have boards of education meeting. At every meeting, we always pick one area that we provide information to the board and to the community about how we're doing in any of those particular things. So we constantly measure. And then I think the ultimate is, as the school district goes, the city goes. So we're turning out students that are brilliant, that are well prepared, well educated. They're able to go into the job market and get great jobs. Hopefully stay here in San Bernardino, buy a home, build a business, then our city will start to elevate. So that's another example of how we're measuring is how we start to build the city back up where it was 2-3 decades ago.
Well, Mr. Arellano, what will success look like for SBCUSD in 2030?
2030 is 100% of the kids graduated from high school, 100% of the kids getting to do exactly what they wanted to do, whether it was to go to college or go into the career force. I mean, that or into the military. It's whatever the kids' goals are. That would be the ultimate success of what it would look like in 2030. It would also look like, going back to my initial statement, is as I walk in other communities, people asking me, where are you the superintendent from? And me saying, I'm from San Bernardino. And then they saying, wow, that's a high achieving school district. So that's another measure that I have for our school district in terms of success.
As for the success, how are you going to measure it along the span of how many years it will take to reach 2030?
Yeah. So internally, we have a quantitative number. So the challenge that I have for our principals and our teachers across the district, that as a district, I want to get to 50% proficiency in English language arts and 50% math as a district. Now, some of your schools are already either at that, near that, or even past that. So the goals of the schools that are already beyond that initial goal is 10% growth every year. right? And so people ask me, well, how come your goal isn't 100? Well, we always want everybody to be at a certain place, but I like to have incremental growths that we can work towards, measurable growth, achievable growth, that people don't go, God, 100 will never get there. But if I say 50, is like, okay, we'll take it in little steps. Thus, the vision being to 2030 is every year we get a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer.
That's really cool how you measure it and everything. How can students, families, and community members get more involved in supporting the vision?
Yeah, I love that question. So we're one of the few school districts in California that actually has a family parent engagement department. So we've spent a lot of money, a lot of resources building a department and different activities and committees for parents and students to be involved. So we have, as an example, like the African American Parent Advisory Committee is one example of the adults. Then we have things like student board members as one example. So we're trying to create all these opportunities where people feel comfortable being part of the school district, that they feel welcomed, that they're not intimidated or afraid to interact with the superintendent, with the principals, with the teachers. We're trying to create that community feel. So you can always go on our website. You can type in Family Engagement Department, and you'll see a list of all the different parent opportunities to be involved and activities so that parents can come and learn about how public education works, learn what it takes to push you guys to be successful, and learn about the components of the multi-year vision.
If you don't make it in 2030, what higher measures will you take?
We're going to make it. Mindset, attitude, positivity, right? Just like the athletes, you can't start off by saying we're not going to make it. So I'm completely comfortable that we're going to make it. Now, maybe not every goal will meet. So like anything, we have to be honest with ourselves. So as we measure these things every year, sometimes you have to criticize your systems because you think you have a system that's working, but it's not giving you the deliverables. So every year we look at our systems and say, yep, this one's working well, keep it. This one, not working so well. How do we change it? Or do we eliminate it and replace it with something different? So we're constantly monitoring the systems as well.
I wanted to ask a question about that. So it might be a little bit sensitive, so you don't have to answer it, but what would the worst case scenario be for Project 2030?
Well, the worst case scenario would be that 5 years go by and the needle doesn't change, right? But any good leader is not going to wait for 5 years. So that's a great question. So it's not like I'm saying, here's a vision. I'll check back with you on June 30th of 2030 and see how we did. That would be irresponsible, right? So that's why we have the check and balances along the way. So that if you see a system's that working and working well, then you keep doing it and you make it better. And you replicate it, right? One school may have a program that other school doesn't, but it's producing results. So then how do we replicate that program and do it over here so kids over here happen? So the worst case scenario would be no movement. But after already a year, we've already seen scores all pointing in the upward direction. Our ELA, our math, our AP pass rates, our graduation rates, the scores for reclassification rates for students who are learning English, the scores for our African American students. So that tells me, even though the growth isn't big, the fact that all the indicators grew tells me the systems work. So that how do we start to fine tune those systems so you get bigger gains over the years? So that would be the worst case scenario, but it would be irresponsible to just wait till 2030. That's why every year and every month we're measuring. So great question. I appreciate that.
Well, Mr. Arellano, if you had to pick one thing that makes you most hopeful about the future of SBCUSD and its students, what would that be?
You guys and our teachers, our amazing teachers and our amazing principals. As a kid, all I ever heard, because I was from San Bernardino and because I wasn't a very good English speaker and because I was Latino, was, oh, you can't do this. You can't compete. You can't compete against kids that are in wealthy, areas and, have perfect lives or whatever, And so, my attitude is, no, we got great kids And, we got hardworking kids and we got talented kids, and, a zip code or circumstance or the color of our skin isn't going to dictate whether or not we're successful or not. So, for me, the hope is you guys. I have great confidence in all of you, including in this room, but it's our job to cultivate that brilliance, to get you motivated and to believe in yourselves. That was one of the things, one of my personal stories is I was one of those kids that hated school, and I didn't know English in second grade. I was going to Riley School, and I've told this story. I used to get in trouble because I couldn't speak English. And back in the day, the teachers would hit you. It was okay for teachers to paddle you. Now, teachers don't do that anymore, and they don't even believe in that. So I'm not trying to say teachers are bad. It was just the times. But my third grade teacher, Miss Temple, she believed in me, and she put a lot into me, and I give her a lot of credit for being here. I can tell you, I have 8,000 Miss Temples in this school district that are doing everything they can to make you successful. So what's my hope is all of you all and the amazing teachers that are in this district. So,
have you grown from this project anyway?
Oh yeah, man. I love being back in San Bernardino. In my previous district, I was just across the way at Redlands. I was the superintendent there. I was having a good time. I was really enjoying working there, and I actually thought I would retire there. So when the position came up here again as superintendent, I wasn't going to apply, and my wife kind of talked me into it, right? And I'm so glad that she did, because I'm telling you, and I mean this, every day at work is a great day. I love being here every day. On the good days and on the days it's stressful, I love being here. It's a great day. So for me, coming back to San Bernardino has been a gift to me. And I'm energized and I'm excited, and I love hanging out with all of you. And I'm so proud that you guys are taking the time to really learn about what we're trying to do to make you guys all great. So yeah, thank you.
Out of every school you've gone to, which, in your opinion, has been the most outstanding one?
Oh, I'm not answering that one. You're kind of trying to corner me. So let me tell you this. I'm proud of every school, because every school is a little different, right? The makeup of the students. Some schools are newer. Some schools are older. Some schools have been neglected. Some schools have been, taken care of. So one of the objectives that I've had this year is making sure that all of our district's schools look like the jewels of the community. So I don't have a favorite school other than San Bernardino High School, because that's where I graduated from. So there's probably a little nudge there. But I'm proud of all of our schools, and I'm trying to make sure that all of our schools look great. When you drive down the street, that people look over and go, man, the schools look good in this district, right? Because we want to be the example. And I say this all the time. As the school district goes, the city goes. So you may have noticed, and we haven't gotten to all the schools yet, but we've been painting a lot of the schools. I started with the high schools, a few other schools, and I'm noticing now families starting to paint their houses because the school looks so good. They want to look good next to it. And again, we are creating that change that I talked about, not just in the district, but in the community. So I don't have a favorite. I love them all. And I mean that with a little nudge to San Bernardino High School.
What was your journey like to becoming superintendent? What struggles did you have to face along the way?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I didn't start off wanting to be a teacher or be in education. I actually went to college wanting to be a FBI or a CIA agent. That's what I wanted to do. So when I graduated from college, I went to apply for those type of jobs, but there was a hiring freeze. So my dad said to me, why don't you go apply to be a substitute teacher? So I went down to 7th Street and I applied to be a substitute teacher. And the gentleman who took my application said, oh, you speak Spanish? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, how would you like to teach elementary school for 1 year? For I think it was like $20,000 at the time, And I'm like, well, yeah, So I was going to do it for 1 year. And about 6 months into it, I just loved it because I was working with kids that were just like me. Kids that had come from another country, kids that didn't know English, kids that were poor like I was growing up, kids that moved to different houses, kids that had families that couldn't keep a job. There was a lot of stressors, right? So I just felt like it was my way to give back. And then I was happy every day, like I am today. I was happy every day going back to be a teacher. So went back to college, got my teaching credential, and then from there just people saw something in me, then I became an elementary principal and then an assistant superintendent, and here I am. Obstacles? Believing in myself, because, back then, you didn't see a lot of people like me in position. So it was hard to see, can I be that person? Can I be just like that? I had a lot of doubt in myself as to whether or not I could really become somebody and be, influential. So that was my biggest obstacle, is really trying to believe in myself. Which is why I try to be the biggest cheerleader in this district for all of you, is I want you all to believe in yourselves, because everybody in this room has the potential to be great, right? And don't let people tell you that you're not great. Don't let people tell you that you can't do something. Prove them wrong. You can do it. Prove them wrong. So I wish I would have had the courage or somebody to pump me up for my courage back then, like I have now, which is why I try to pump everybody in this room, is go out there and prove everybody wrong.
How did you overcome that doubt you had in your
People? I had great teachers. I was telling you about Miss Temple, third grade, kind of started there. But once I became a teacher, I had a principal by the name of Narciso Cardona, who just really believed in me. And he continued to say, hey, you're a great teacher. You want to try this? And he'd give me one more thing to do, and I would do it right. And he'd say, how about you want to try that? And then one day he came to me and said, would you like to be an administrator? I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to be a principal. That's too much work, right? And I like being in my classroom. But, he talked me into it. So mentoring is probably the answer to your question, is people took an interest, they mentored me, but I had to be open to that mentoring, right? And so I think mentoring is what got me over the hump, and which is, I know, a big goal for many of our teachers and principals, is to be mentors to all of you. And again, going back to make you believe that you can do it. Don't let anybody tell you can't, right? So mentoring is the answer.
While you were in college for your teaching degree, did you ever think that at one point you were going to be a teacher and then a superintendent?
No, as a matter of fact, I don't think many of the people I went to school with thought I'd ever be a superintendent, or I'll even be honest. I don't think my principal in high school would have thought that I'd ever become a superintendent. Which, by the way, do you guys know Mr. Gomez here? Yeah. Mr. Gomez and I grew up together. So, he and I, we had good times and we had some wild times when we were kids here. But no, I never thought that I could be a superintendent, because nobody ever told me that I could be something. I mean, other than my parents, right? Which is why it's so important for me to always keep coming back and looking at everybody in this room is, you can be great. You can be great. So, no, I didn't think it, but now that I'm here, I want to make sure that I do for you what some people may have not done for me, and just keep repeating. Everybody in this room is great. You can do whatever your goal is, and just do it. Have confidence. Oh.
In the top of the goal, what was your thinking process for developing the Shines project into what it is today, and how did you start that?
Yeah. Well, it all started in my interview with the Board of Education, as I shared with them that the district had been through a lot of transitions. And so it was my humble and professional opinion is that we needed to create one uniform approach. And that approach had to be something created by everyone in the community, so that we could regain the confidence of the people who at that time were looking at the district going, oh my God, there's a lot of disruption, right? So the board really supported that idea. And I shared with them that they needed to be part of the process as well, because we're a team. 7 board members and a superintendent. We're a team. It's not just me. The 8 of us have to work together so that the community and all the employees in the district can feel a sense of calm and unity, right? That was kind of missing here in the district at the time. So it started from that point of the idea, building consensus, sharing the idea that we're going to build this collaboratively, that it's not me creating the vision. And then important part is promising the board that after we built it, that we would share out information to the community at each board meeting, so that they would start to gain confidence that, we're measuring our goals, that we're changing system when we need to, and we're augmenting the systems that are working well. So that's how it all kind of started.
What's your thinking for after Project 30? Like, what are you gonna do after you accomplish this?
I'm going to retire. Now, my ultimate goal, like any leader, what you want to do is you want to leave an organization better than you found it. And then if you decide, if the decision at that time is for me to retire, is hopefully feeling really good that when I hand it off to the next person, that person now can build on it. Right. So there's no like ego for me. I want somebody to come in now and then take it where I left it and then take it to the next step. And hopefully the person after that then takes it to the next step. So maybe 20 years after I leave, it would make me very proud to just be able to look back and go, you know what? The school district grew like this. And my part of it, I was here. I created that first step and that first energy for the other people. So I, more than likely by the time 2030 comes around, I'll retire because I know I look very young, right? But I'm very old. Right? You guys were supposed to say, yeah. No. So I'm 58. So by 2030, it should be right around the time that I'm going to retire from my career. And so it will be my honor to pass it on and leave it in a good spot. So.
Well, since we know that Project 30 is not just affecting schools, but also impacting the community. In high school, did you think that you would create such a big impact in San Bernardino?
Oh, no. I really didn't. No. So the answer is no. But now that I'm here, it makes sense, right? For me, it makes sense because, so many people did so many things for me to be successful. So me being now in a spot where I can do those same things is very rewarding to me. And it's very emotional for me because, I didn't have a good experience starting. I told you, my first 4 years in elementary here was getting hit, getting spanked by the teacher because I didn't speak English. But I have to get past that bitterness. I had to get past that anger and say, okay, I need to concentrate on the good things that happened to me. Identify those, call them out, and then replicate them. So no, I didn't see that. But now it makes sense. And I just feel like my responsibility now is to go out and make all of you feel like, man, you guys are the greatest things on earth, which you are, and that you're going to become great, and you will. So,
what's the most important part of being superintendent to you?
To be visible, being at school sites. I try to be at school sites 2-3 times a week. That was one of the statements that I made in my interview to the board. I said, if you want a superintendent that's going to be out, doing, ribbon cutting and all that, don't hire me. I want to be the superintendent that's going to be in the schools, walking around, being in classrooms, interacting with the students, talking to teachers, talking to kids and saying, how things going. Then I'm your guy, right? So that's what's the best part of my job, and it's probably the most important part of my job is being at the school sites. We have 77 schools, so it's hard, right? There's 180 days of school year, 77 schools. So, sometimes I get to a school once a year. Sometimes I go 2 times, depending on the issue. Sometimes I have to be there 3 or 4 times because things pop up. But that's probably the best part of my job is, and most important is being at school sites so that I know what the teachers need, what the principals need, what you guys need.
Well, out of all of the school sites that you've been to, which has shown the most growth?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, well, I'm going to say this. I'm really proud of my middle school principal groups. The middle school principals are probably the group that is the most cohesive and work together well and collaborate well and have a trusting relationship of each other. So I see a lot of growth in them, which is going to translate into a lot of growth at the school sites in terms of all the indicators. So I'm very proud of our middle school principals. And I'm not just saying that because your principal's here. That is really true. My high school principals are getting to that point. Where they're becoming a team and a family, and they're able to have vulnerable conversations and honest conversations and help each other, right? So they're probably the second group that is showing the most kind of improvement. Elementary has been difficult because we have like 50 some elementary schools, but a lot of them have very new principals. So they're very new, very green. And so they're going to need a couple of years to kind of continue to develop. So I probably see less improvement happening there at the moment, but it's not because they don't want to. They're just new. So it's my job to make sure that we build their capacity. So every year they get a little smarter, a little better, a little more cohesive, and we'll see some of the improvements happening there. So.
If you don't mind me asking, what are some of the struggles of being superintendent?
Sleeping. Honestly, you're probably not going to believe me, but I don't feel like there are no struggles. The work is the work, right? Certainly there are days where there's a lot of positive energy and a little bit of negative energy. And then there's days where you have a little more negative energy and a little less positive. But I don't judge one day better than the other. It's the work. It's what I signed up to do, right? And sometimes I like some of those challenges better because it makes life fun, right? You want to be able to solve that problem, that puzzle. But it really is about relationships. What I have found not only is 5 years as a superintendent of Redlands and now 2 years here, on those days when people are angry, it's usually because they haven't been heard or they haven't been understood. Or sometimes they're ignored, right? So, or sometimes we don't call them back in a timely manner, which, when you're mad and nobody calls you back, then you get madder, right? So for me, it's really trying to model, and it's been successful, is I just build friendships. I tell the principals all the time, it's easy every day to smile and just say, good morning. It's easy every day to smile and say, how's your day? It's easy to smile and stick your hand out and go, nice to see you. How are you today? Right. So, the struggles really is just knowing how to navigate those challenges, but not being afraid to do them. So I really, I know you guys are probably thinking, I don't believe him. I don't believe him. And that's okay. To me, it's mindset. I don't see struggles. I just see opportunities. So.
Well, we always like to leave Eagle Time on a positive note. So for our closing, can you share with us one of your favorite memories of working in SBCUSD?
Yeah, my favorite, I have a lot of them. I have a lot of them. I enjoyed being a teacher, and some of the best memories were always the last day of school, because I loved my kids. I taught 5th grade at Muscoy Elementary School, and like every year I'd say, oh, this is my favorite class. Then the next group would come, oh, that's my favorite class. And the memories of those last days where we would be happy and we would shed tears. I mean, the teacher and the kids, because we knew that was our last day together as a family, as a class. Those are special moments to me. And when you go to in my office, you'll just see the class pictures. I put them because I'm really proud of the kids that I worked with, so those are great memories. As a principal, when I was a principal here at Wilson, at Thompson, at Vermont, was just those moments when the teachers were so proud when our test scores would go up, when all the hard work would, I remember those celebrations and the parties for that. And then just from a superintendent's standpoint is when I'm shaking hands at graduations. Many times I don't know the kids, but they're walking across with big smiles and are so excited. And you see the energy about what their future is going to be like. And I say to myself, you know what? We did it. We did it for them. So those are great moments for me. And I get teary-eyed, but those are great moments, So thank you for asking whoever asked me that. Yeah, those are good things to carry with me.
Well, before we close up for the day, do you have any questions, comments for our crew?
No questions, just comments. And I'm going to go back to where I started, and this is for everybody in this room, is you guys are all brilliant. And I want you to believe in yourself, and I want you to have confidence in yourself. And I don't want anybody ever to tell you that you can't be what you want to be. And if they tell you that, walk away and then come back and prove them wrong. And also, I want you to know that everybody here is willing to help, and they want your success. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Asking for help is not a weakness. Asking for help is a strength. And like I said earlier, growing up in San Bernardino is not easy, right? I know it. I've been through it, right? I know all the pressures. I know all the influences that are out there. So you're not in this world alone. You have people here that are willing to help you. Ask for help. If your families need help, I was just telling you about the big family engagement department that we have. If your families need help, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. We're here. We want to make sure that you're successful. So I just want you to continue to work hard, believe in yourself, pick out a dream, pick out a goal, and get to it, man. We're here to lift you up and get to that goal. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm very humbled.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us, and that was Eagle Time.
It's a wrap.
Eagle time. You hear it? It's coming. Eagle time, eagle time, eagle time, eagle. Eagle time, 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 eagle. Eagle time, 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 eagle. Eagle time, 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 eagle. Eagle time, eagle time, eagle time, eagle.